The council chamber of Aurelia Prime was a cathedral of alien precision. Spires of polished metal rose from the floor, spiraling upward like frozen lightning, each etched with symbols that hummed faintly with energy. Every species present observed one another in rigid silence, their eyes, some multifaceted, some luminescent, tracking every gesture. At the center, a human figure moved where no human should have stepped. Captain Elara Quinn's boots echoed against the polished floor as she strode past the ceremonial dais, ignoring the whispers that slid like silk across the chamber. "Captain Quinn, you do realize," Commander Rykov's voice was sharp behind her, a whisper meant to warn. "I do," she replied, her tone calm, measured. "And I also realize the point of no progress is standing perfectly still on rules no one else remembers." Her smile was faint, almost imperceptible, but it carried the weight of defiance. Around her, alien delegates stiffened. At the head of the chamber, Vorthak Zelnir's eyes narrowed, a ripple of disapproval emanating from his violet-scale frame. His voice resonated across the chamber in a low, melodic cadence that demanded obedience. "Human, you dare disregard the Conclave's sacred protocol?" "I dare," Elara said, letting her words hang in the air. The room shifted, tension coiling like a predator ready to strike. Rykov stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Elara, you've done it now. They could what?" she interrupted softly. "Expel us? Fine. Endanger humanity? Not likely. We're already here, Rykov. Might as well make it count." Her calm unnerved the assembly. Silence stretched, punctuated by the occasional hum of energy coursing through the spires. Alien delegates whispered in languages her translators barely kept pace with, the tone universally tense. Each whisper was a thread, weaving a tapestry of suspicion. Vorthak's tail flicked in controlled irritation. "Protocol exists for a reason. Your species, chaotic, impulsive, unpredictable, ignores that reason at every turn. Do you understand the consequences?" "I understand," Elara said evenly. "And I also understand that without some chaos, innovation dies. Humanity thrives in chaos. It's what brought us here." A murmur spread through the chamber. Some delegates leaned forward, intrigued. Others recoiled, shocked at her audacity. Vorthak's lips pressed into a thin line. "Audacity is not wisdom, Captain Quinn. One more breach, and humanity will face consequences no species should endure." Elara's eyes scanned the room, noting the subtle alliances forming. A triarch delegate shifted slightly, therefore arms moving in a gesture of cautious approval. She allowed herself a mental note. Allies exist, even if unspoken. Suddenly, alarms blared. The spires hummed deepened into a warning pulse. The chamber's gravity-adjusted floor rippled, as if reacting to the urgency. Commander Rykov swore under his breath. Someone's breached security protocols on the horizon's edge. Vorthak's eyes narrowed further. "Explain." A holographic projection flickered into existence above the dais, displaying the ship's schematics. Red markers flashed over critical areas. "It appears a crew member accessed restricted archives," one of the Conclave officers announced. "Intentional or accidental, it violates multiple statutes." Elara stepped forward, her expression unflinching. "We had no malicious intent. Our engineer—" "Intent does not excuse action," Vorthak cut in sharply. "Your species behaves as if the rules apply selectively." Rykov shot her a worried glance. "Elara, they're going to detain us. This could escalate beyond diplomacy." She lifted a hand, stopping him. "Rykov, calm. Listen, chaos is the only tool we've been given here, and we're about to use it wisely." A delegate from the Lasari, a crystalline species with voices like wind over glass, leaned forward. "Humans are strange," they said, their tone neutral yet tinged with fascination. "They seem aware of danger, yet embrace it willingly." Elara allowed a small, almost human smile. "Thank you. That's one way to put it." The chamber's atmosphere thickened, every movement amplified. Vorthak raised a clawed hand. "The Conclave has reached a decision. The Horizon's Edge crew will be confined in designated quarters pending investigation. No communication outside the chamber." The floor beneath them shifted subtly, marking the change in authority. Rykov muttered under his breath. And just like that, we're caged birds. Elara's gaze didn't waver. She met Vorthak's eyes directly. Then let's see what humanity can do when caged. Her words, quiet but resolute, carried a weight that seemed to ripple through the chamber. Several younger delegates, including one of the triarch, exchanged looks. They had not expected such poise, such calm defiance. The humans were escorted out, the floor's magnetic field subtly guiding them through corridors lined with monitors and alien observers. Every step was a study in restraint, every glance calculated. Yet inside, Elara's mind raced, plotting strategies that would turn this confinement from punishment into advantage. Once in their quarters, she turned to her crew. Listen up. We've been boxed in, yes, but we know more about this place than they think. And we've got time, a little leverage, and our wits. That's all we need. Engineer Kieran, younger than most, frowned. But, Captain, the security breach, it's worse than they think. Could be sabotage. Elara's eyes hardened. Then we uncover it before they pin it on us. And we make sure the galaxy knows that humanity is not just capable, it's indispensable. Outside their quarters, Vorthak watched via surveillance, his expression unreadable. Humanity, he realized, was not just bold. They were unpredictable in ways that might alter centuries of conclave protocol. Inside, Elara paced, formulating the first moves of the game that would stretch across politics, deception, and survival. Rules are guidelines, she muttered to herself. We break some, we bend others, but we always play to win. And somewhere in the shadows of Aurelia Prime, the first whispers of admiration mixed with fear. The humans, they might just change everything. The confinement quarters aboard Aurelia Prime felt more like a cage than a diplomatic suite. The walls were a polished alloy, reflective enough to make every movement deliberate, every glance noticeable. Soft luminescent strips replaced windows, bathing the humans in a sterile, unflattering light. Security drones hovered quietly in corners, monitoring, analyzing, judging. Elara Quinn moved deliberately, boots silent on the smooth floor. Her crew followed in a tight formation, each member tense, yet alert. Kieran, the engineer, lingered near the wall, his fingers nervously tracing the holographic wristband that limited their movement. Captain, he said, voice low, if Vorthak finds even a hint of tampering, we're done. Not just fined, not just expelled. Done. Elara shook her head. Kieran, fear's a chain. Chains are made to be used, not broken. We're going to move carefully, but we're moving. Always moving. She approached a small console embedded in the wall. Its surface alien in design, yet familiar enough to human intuition. Data streams flash in cryptic colors, showing routines, patrol schedules, and, most crucially, the archival access logs. Look at this, Elara murmured, pointing to a series of entries. Someone's manipulating historical records in the lower archives. It's subtle, but it's there. Whoever did it doesn't want to be traced. Lieutenant Rhea leaned over her shoulder, reading the alien symbols through a translator. So this isn't accidental. Someone is trying to frame us. Elara's eyes narrowed. Exactly. And we're going to find them before they turn our presence into an interstellar incident. Their first challenge: reach the archives without breaking another conclave rule, or at least without getting caught. The corridors leading there were lined with surveillance nodes and energy fields. Elara examined the map projected in midair, tracing paths with her fingers. We need to exploit the blind spots, she said. Patterns exist. Every alien system has them, no matter how advanced. It's just a matter of seeing the gaps. Rykov's voice was low, tight with worry. Captain, this is risky. They could detect us. And we won't just be confined anymore. They'll escalate. She met his gaze. Rykov, humans weren't meant to avoid risk. We adapt. We improvise. And right now, improvisation is the only way forward. As the crew moved, Elara felt the weight of observation pressing down from every angle. The Lasari delegate had once said humans were strange. Here, that strangeness became their advantage. They walked like they belonged, as if confidence itself could bend the laws of scrutiny. The first obstacle came in the form of an automated gate. Energy tendrils shimmered across the doorway, designed to detect unauthorized biometrics. Kieran crouched, scanning with a portable interface. "I can mimic their biometrics," he whispered, "but will only work once, if we're traced." "Then we're traced," Elara interrupted. "We don't get perfection, only action." With precise timing, the gate shimmered and allowed them passage. Each step into the archives was calculated, silent, a dance of logic and nerve. Rows of data conduits hummed softly, storing centuries of conclave knowledge. Ancient alien codes flickered in the low light, walls lined with history no human was meant to touch. "There," Kieran said, pointing to a subtle anomaly. "Someone has overwritten a record, not just recent logs, but centuries-old treaties. Whoever did this has influence in the plan." Elara's mind raced. "We need to trace the origin. Every record leaves a trail, even in the conclave protected layers. Start here." She tapped the interface with precision. Streams of light traced pathways across the data, converging into a single, almost imperceptible node. A sudden alert flashed. Security drones had detected a spike in activity. Elara froze, heart steady, voice calm. "Everyone freeze. Let them think we're nothing." The drones hovered, scanning. Their sensors, designed to detect rapid movement or deviation from protocol, passed over the crew. Elara's calm aura, human and defiant, masked the urgency within. She whispered to Kieran, "Now! Push the trace. Fast." The interface responded. A record emerged, a hidden transmission, routed through multiple systems to mask origin. The sender was unmistakable, if only to those who could read the subtleties. Another human-like crew from a clandestine faction of interstellar smugglers. They'd exploited humanity's reputation to set the blame. "Sabotage," Rhea said, voice tight. "Intentional." And we walked right into it. Elara nodded. "Exactly. But here's the advantage. We know who did it. And now we can turn the tables." They left the archives quietly, retracing their steps through shadows and energy gaps. Every corner was tense, every flicker of movement, a potential disaster. Yet the crew moved with precision, trust in their leader and themselves driving each step. Back in their quarters, Elara laid out the plan. "We have leverage, not just evidence, but timing. Vorthak and the Conclave think they control the narrative. They don't. Not completely. We'll present our findings strategically, in a way that forces acknowledgement of our skill and our necessity." Kieran leaned back, exhausted but alert. "And if they call us reckless again?" Elara's smile was faint but firm. "Then we call ourselves human. We don't apologize for adaptability. We use it." Hours later, when the Conclave reconvened, Elara watched from the observation viewport as the chaos she had predicted unfolded. Delegates murmured, cross-referencing, evaluating the evidence now in human hands. Vorthak Zelnir's expression was unreadable, his pride tested, his authority subtly challenged. Rhea whispered, "Do you think they'll believe us?" Elara's eyes gleamed with quiet determination. "They'll respect us. Maybe not today, maybe not fully, but respect is earned through action, not compliance. And that's something humans understand better than anyone else." Outside, the hum of the station carried on, indifferent to politics, oblivious to the delicate dance of diplomacy and defiance happening within. Inside, humans were already plotting the next move, using intellect, daring, and unpredictability, the very traits that the Conclave feared most. As night, or what passed for night in orbit, fell, Elara stood by the viewport, staring at the swirling gas giant below. Every rule they created, she thought, is just a guideline waiting for the right challenge. And we're just getting started. The council chamber of Aurelia Prime throbbed with tension, a living organism of metallic arches and luminous symbols. Every delegate turned toward the center where the humans, escorted but unbowed, waited. Captain Elara Quinn's posture was deliberate, calm, yet undeniably commanding. Across from her, Vorthak Zelnir's violet eyes glimmered like polished stone, his jaw tight with restrained anger. "You've broken every rule," he stated, voice cold, resonant, and sharp enough to cut to the murmurs of the assembly. Intentional or not, your actions endanger the Conclave's order. Do you understand the severity of your conduct? Elara's gaze never wavered. Yes, she said, voice even, carrying the weight of humanity's defiance. And I also understand that without adaptation, order becomes stagnation. Humans do not survive by perfection. We survive by ingenuity, by learning, by acting when the rules fail to serve progress. A ripple of whispers moved through the chamber. Some delegates leaned forward, intrigued despite themselves. Others recoiled, unsettled by her boldness. Vorhak's tail flicked sharply, a silent signal of displeasure. Words alone cannot absolve you. Proof is required. Elara took a step closer to the dais. Then allow me to provide it. She gestured to the holographic interface she had brought with her, projected from a concealed device in her sleeve. Streams of light illuminated the chamber, displaying encrypted pathways, tampered archives, and the traces of the hidden human faction attempting to frame her crew. The chamber fell silent, the magnitude of evidence settling over them like a tidal wave. Vorhak's eyes narrowed. So, your species, reckless, chaotic, managed to uncover deception that eluded generations of our intelligence networks? Not by luck, Elara replied. By observing, reasoning, and adapting. By doing what humans do best, solving problems that others are too rigid to confront. A triarch delegate leaned forward, its multiple limbs folding thoughtfully. This is unexpected. The humans have not only identified the saboteur, but have also preserved the integrity of our archives in the process. Remarkable. Elara allowed herself a small, genuine smile. We didn't act recklessly. We acted effectively. Vorhak's voice hardened. Yet, in exposing the sabotage, you have violated multiple ceremonial protocols. The Conclave cannot ignore this. Elara tilted her head slightly. And if you do, you risk misunderstanding the value of human methods. Humanity isn't predictable. We bend rules when necessary, yes, but not to destroy, only to create solutions. Punish us blindly, and you punish ingenuity itself. The chamber was electric with tension. Delegates debated quietly, some arguing for strict adherence to tradition, others for recognition of human effectiveness. Whispers in unknown dialects rippled across the room, a mixture of fear, admiration, and uncertainty. Vorhak's claws tapped rhythmically against the dais. Your audacity is remarkable, but audacity is not wisdom. Explain, then, how does your species justify repeated breaches without chaos consuming itself? Elara's eyes shone. Humans justify it by surviving it, by learning from it, by creating order where others see only destruction. The Conclave values order, but order without evolution is decay. If we cannot challenge your rules responsibly, your civilization stagnates, just as ours would if we never dare to challenge the galaxy. The chamber seemed to hold its breath. Several delegates exchanged looks, understanding something deeper. This was not merely defense. It was a challenge, framed in the language of diplomacy and human logic. A Lasari delegate, voice crystalline and deliberate, spoke. The humans, they have demonstrated both courage and insight. Rarely are the two combined so effectively. Perhaps it is not chaos that threatens the Conclave, but rigidity itself. Vorhak's gaze flicked to the Lasari, then back to Elara. His tone, though stern, carried a hint of reluctant respect. Your species is unpredictable, yet your intelligence is undeniable. This is an anomaly in our records. An anomaly I cannot ignore. Elara stepped forward, finishing her appeal. Humanity seeks not to dominate, but to contribute. We follow rules when they make sense, adapt them when they hinder progress, and create solutions where none exist. Punishing us for this is punishing the galaxy's potential. Silence fell again, heavier this time, pregnant with anticipation. The Conclave debated. Silent glances exchanged, tails flicking, claws tapping, scales glinting under the chamber lights. Finally, Vorhak's eyes rested on her, with a measure of grudging acknowledgement. You may remain, he said, but your species' actions will be observed, constrained, but not eradicated. Let it be known, humanity has both the capacity to disrupt and the potential to advance. Do not mistake tolerance for weakness. Relief washed over the human crew, though Elara's expression remained focused. "Thank you," she said simply, yet with unmistakable weight. Vorthak inclined his head ever so slightly, signaling the end of the session. Delegates began to disperse, some casting cautious glances, others murmuring in admiration. Humanity had survived the ordeal not by submission, but by demonstrating its unique value. In the quiet aftermath, Elara turned to her crew. "This is only the beginning. We've proved we can challenge expectations and win, but the galaxy doesn't pause for applause. There are always more rules, more challenges, more games to play." Rhea exhaled, shoulders relaxing for the first time. "We actually did it, didn't we? They respected us." Elara's gaze drifted toward the viewport. With a swirling gas giant below, Aurelia Prime reflected faint starlight. "Not respect," she corrected softly. "Acknowledgement. Respect is earned daily. Acknowledgement is the start. Humanity has the tools. And now we have the stage." Kieran joined her, silent but observant. "Do you think Vorthak will ever fully trust us?" Elara's lips curved in a faint smile, sharp with humor and certainty. "Trust isn't the goal. Influence is. Change is. We don't need them to trust us. We need them to recognize what humans can do. And that, my friends, is exactly what we've done." The crew gathered, their spirits buoyed but tempered by the knowledge that the Conclave would watch their every move. Humanity had not just survived, they had reshaped expectations, turned rigidity into opportunity, and planted the seeds of transformation. As the chamber emptied, Elara lingered for a moment, absorbing the magnitude of their achievement. The stars beyond Aurelia Prime stretched infinitely, a canvas for ambition, daring, and discovery. Humanity had broken rules, but in doing so, had rewritten what rules could mean. And somewhere, beneath the alien grandeur and ceremonial rigidity, the first whispers of recognition spread. Humans were no longer merely participants. They were catalysts, disruptors, and architects of possibilities yet unseen. Elara's final thought, quiet but resolute, echoed in the silence. Let them watch. Let them judge. Humanity is unpredictable, and we will always rise.